Hey everybody, Taylor Lyles with the Greenville Home Builders Association, and this is the Think Big podcast. Good morning and welcome to the Think Big podcast. Super excited to have Robbie Randolph, one of our members of the HBA of Greenville here, joining us today. Robbie, welcome to the Think Big podcast.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Tell the listeners all about you, kind of how you got here and what you do.
I'm Robbie Randolph with Randolph Estate Living and Design Resource Gallery. And we've been a part of the HBA for probably 3 years now. And Randolph Estate Living, we're a full service interior design, real estate and home management company. And then Design Resource Gallery is a to the trade showroom warehouse specializing to interior designers and builders.
Very cool. So Randolph Estate Living, DRG, kind of how did all that form?
Oh, it happened rather organically. I'd always been into design. I'd always been into, when I was a kid, I used to rearrange my bedroom like 100 times. And I remember for Christmas one year, I went to JCPenney's and used my Christmas money to buy like a bed set for my bed. And I was so excited about it. So I've always been into it, if that makes sense. And so I kind of fell into real estate back in 2008. I used to own a mortgage company. The housing crisis made me close the mortgage company. And then in 2008, I started helping my kid's mom with real estate. And so I started doing that. And then the next thing you know, I had a client that said, hey, would you, decorate my house for me because your house looks so good. And so I did. And so I did a whole townhouse, and then she told her friends, and then they told her friends. And the next thing you know, I started designing houses. So what I typically do is I like to work with people who want to buy a house and then basically redesign it. Or if they're looking to sell their house for top dollar, then we go ahead and redesign it before we sell it. So those are sort of how I got rolled into this. Design Resource Gallery came out of a need. I was trying to figure out a way to get better quality furnishings to my clients. And at the time I was using a company out of Charleston, which was a little bit cumbersome because I was driving to Charleston to get samples or to do wallpaper. It was crazy, and I would have everything shipped to a warehouse up here. And so someone told me about Design Resource Gallery, and walked in and was amazed that this was here in Greenville. And so I started using Design Resource Gallery for my clients, and then the lady who owned it said that she was retiring and wanted to sell. And so I looked to my husband, Drew. I was like, we need to do this. And so we bought it, and we completely expanded it, within the last 3 years that we've owned it. And our warehouse has almost doubled in capacity. So it's a different animal than it was when I walked in there, but it's a great place for designers. So
that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So on the Randolph Estate Living side, so target audience is who?
So my product mix, Randolph Estate Living, we offer, like I said, interior design, real estate, and home management. So my typical client is a client that owns multiple homes as primary residences. And that may be kind of like, what do you mean? So they'll have a lake house, they'll have a Greenville house, and they'll have a Florida house or a Vail house or what have you. And they don't rent those homes out. They consider them their primary homes. So they're very personal to them. They are not, just letting anyone stay in there. So if you're going to their other house, it's treated just like as if their home. The kids know it as their home. They just have multiple homes. And that's my typical client. So home management was sort of birthed out of that, if that makes sense, because any of these secondary homes all have deferred maintenance. And so homeowners want to enjoy the homes, but then when they're there, they don't want to have to deal with all the other things of, making sure that the filters are changed, or making sure that, did the landscaper come today, or they show up to use their pool and the pool has, fungus all in it because the pool guy didn't do what he was supposed to do. So there's no one that's really checking on those homes. And so that's the service that we offer for them, is just to make sure that all of their homes are ready to be used at all times.
So that's more on the home maintenance
That's home
side.
management, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So target audience?
I would say target audience, the minimum home price, would be like $750. You're looking, I would say that you're looking at a client that is either retired or owns a small business, or is someone that probably has like an executive position title in their name. So they usually have more than one home. They usually have the way to transport between the homes easily. Did that answer the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got a helicopter, they've got a plane, they've got
Typically, yeah. I mean, these are
well-to-do,
yeah.
bougie clientele.
Yeah. You said it.
I love it.
But I will have to say that my clients know, like, it's everything that I do for my clients is very personal. When I'm involved with my clients, it's more like I'm part of the family. It just naturally happens that I have a very familial relationship with my clients. And I can't say that I have any client that is bougie by what people would determine to be bougie.
Yeah.
They're just normal people that just happen to live these just amazing lives, where they have these multiple places and do really cool things,
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I love it. So it's kind of evolving. You got into the market and the real estate game in 2008. Had to be frustrating. You had to close a mortgage company, getting in at 2008.
Yeah, fun
I'm imagining a little rocky for a couple of years, but kind of developed the niche and then just kept evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly you're doing well with bringing new clients in, creating that family atmosphere for the clients.
Right. Mm-hmm.
On the home maintenance side, that's super fascinating to me because you're right. If you have multiple homes and you don't want to deal with, oh, did that filter get replaced every 6 months? Oh, did that light bulb burn out? Did it finally get replaced? Or the pool. Let's dive into that a little bit. So you're offering these services to your clients, or is that for anybody who potentially has multiple homes?
So we're currently only dealing with clients that use us for our whole package right now. We will be rolling it out next year to anyone who wants to sign up for home management. So if they are the criteria though is that they have to have more than one home. So I don't want to focus our efforts on people that have a primary residence that just want me to focus on the primary residence. That's not what we're here to do. Okay, so there's other places in town that are great for that.
Yep.
We focus on that second, third, and fourth home. So, and if they have their second, third, or fourth home, then we'll absolutely do their primary as well. Okay, we want that whole relationship.
Of course.
We're not looking for just to do primary homes, if that makes sense. So we're looking for people that have multiple homes. And then when you get into that, we start with a full home inspection. So if you just built your house, you could have the benefit of a home inspection. Or if you've owned the home for 20 years, you probably haven't had a home inspection in 20 years from the first time you did it. So we start with a home inspection. And so it's professionally done by an outside company. We don't do that ourselves. It's an outside company. They give us the red ticket items that we need to have repaired. We then contract out those items and make sure that their home is in basically perfect condition by the time we put them into our actual monthly management program. So once we get all the repairs completed, then they're in the maintenance phase. And so we visit the home monthly, and that's where we work with their vendors that they hire. So we don't hire the vendors for this part, okay? So we work with their vendors. So if they have a landscaper, if they have a cleaner, if they have an estate manager that's on the property, we make sure that all of those people are doing their job so that they don't have to.
So it's kind of like an oversight company to make sure that everybody is maintaining what they said they're going to maintain.
That's right. Yeah, and I probably have 5 clients right now that have estate managers on their property. So what that means is there's a person that shows up every day from 8 to 5 or whatever their hours happen to be, either 5 days a week or 6 days a week to manage the property.
Okay.
So I work with those people making sure that they're doing their job when they're not there.
That's got to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun.
Kind of cracking the whip, for lack of better words.
Yeah, and I actually don't have to do the cracking of the whip. I'm just sort of like the spy, if you will, that's making sure that everybody's doing their job. So,
fantastic.
And if they want me to crack the whip, then I'll absolutely do it. For instance, when I show up and a pool is dirty, I'm calling the pool company that they've told me who they use, and I'm making sure they get out there to clean it.
Yep.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it really gives the homeowner a peace of mind that it's all taken care of, so when they show up, they're good to go.
They just should be able to show up and enjoy their home.
Now, how far down does that home management go? I mean, are we talking groceries,
So
parties?
yeah, that's a great question. So it's almost like you read my website. So we'll do what we offer welcome back service, and it's for an additional fee. So for instance, if you've been in Chicago for 4 months and you haven't visited your lake house, you come back from Chicago and you want the welcome home service, we'll make sure that the fridge is stocked. We'll make sure that there's toilet paper. We'll make sure that, the cleaner has come that week to make sure that it's been cleaned. If you want us to go ahead and arrange for catering to arrive, so when you get off your plane and you show up to your house at 8 o'clock at night, you can walk in and there's a meal sitting on the kitchen table. So whatever you want, we're going to do. And it's an additional service that clients pay for. And then we also do special events. So for instance, if you're in Chicago and you're coming down and you want to have a 4th of July party at your house for the weekend, well, you don't have time to get everything prepared the week before.
Of course.
We'll take care of all that for you so you can show up for the weekend, enjoy your 4th of July, and then go back home.
So in my mind, I'm picturing it like Jeffrey from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
Yeah. He just taking care of everything, turnkey, no matter what. That's a great service, and there's a lot of value in that for homeowners.
Yeah, and if you consider the communities that are around Greenville that are feeders for this, Lake Kiowee being the number one, that's where, you need this type of service for sure, where the homes are $2-3 million and up, and then you need somebody to come in and do all this for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So home services, real estate, but kind of what the bread and butter I want to talk to you about today is the interior design portion that you offer.
Yeah.
Everybody's got this magical mindset that they can be a designer, and by all means, some of them truly can.
Yeah,
some of them have that eye that can truly pick out how to hang pictures on a wall or how to properly place pictures on a wall, trying to make a collage wall.
Right.
I've gotten yelled at about our collage wall multiple times at the office. I'm trying to relive nostalgia with the history of the association, but apparently I do not have the eye for that. That is why we want you to help us with the redesign of the HBA building.
Okay, I'm excited about that.
So diving into the interior design portion of it, talk to me about target audience for that, kind of what services you offer, how you approach an interior design package, I guess, for lack of better words.
Yeah, so I think that to back up the train a bit, my aesthetic is I like to make houses feel like homes, and so I like to use what's personal to my homeowner. Okay, I haven't done much where homeowners just say, I don't care what it looks like, just go in and put furniture in. That's not my ideal client anyway. It comes out sterile. So I like to use what clients have. So when you look at anything that I've ever done, you're going to see a lot of like personal pieces like antiques or family heirlooms that are mixed into the design. When you do that, you're getting a warmth and you're getting a personalization of a design that you typically don't get if you're just throwing in a couch and a few chairs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So my approach is I'm deeply connected with my clients, figuring out what they want. Whenever I take on a new client, I do a complimentary consultation with them because I want to know who they are before I agree to take them on as a client. So I come into their home, I see what they like, see what they don't like, see if we're a good match, and then from there, I use existing stuff and then just go through the design process with them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's get real for a second. Are you dumping money into marketing but barely seeing any results? Go Digital can help. Using their marketing matrix, they zero in on your target audience and engage them where it matters the most. Go Digital acts as your full-service marketing team, saving you the hassle and cost of building an entire in-house team or trusting random gurus you found on the internet. It is also important to note that they don't just serve home service businesses. They own one. They've been in your shoes. They know what works because they've lived it. Wondering why I know so much about them? It's because I've been a client for them over a year, and I couldn't be happier with the results. So if you're ready to start winning more leads for less, hit the link in the show notes and schedule a free 20-minute consultation today. All right, so you spoke on personalizing the home and making sure that those personal touches are in there. That's huge because a lot of homes you walk into, albeit they're $5+ million, but they're just cold. There's no character to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of more of that modern simplistic mindset. But as you said, making a home truly their home or that
Right.
family's home, that's huge.
Yeah.
So going into the vetting process of bringing clients on, I'm sure you focus on that pretty heavily.
Yeah, I like I said, I've had very few clients that have said, just go put stuff in a house. It's very much, these are homes that you're creating, and they want it to feel like a home. And so when you get to know a client, you find out there's some personal things that you can add in. I think one of the great examples of this is that one of my clients, he grew up in the home. He was 5 years old when he moved into the home. His mother passed away. They inherited the home. And so we were going through a redesign of the home. It took us 3 years to go through the whole house and redesign it. And the mother was very much involved in the garden scene in town and nationally. And so I was redesigning a room, and I found a piece of furniture that had hand-painted flowers on the front of it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a fantastic tribute to the mother. And it would just be really cool to put that in the room. So the clients loved it. They did it. Well, then I found out that the proceeds from this chest benefited one of the gardens that his mother was a board member of. And so it was just very cool to see how this national brand, which is having this thing, was related on a local level to my client. And it really added a piece of personalization that was a brand new piece of furniture.
Yeah. That's
really cool.
fantastic.
Yeah,
so
it was
incorporating history back into the home.
Right.
That's
so even
huge.
though it was a brand new piece, it fit in with the whole aesthetic of it. And I think that's ways that you can do that. You can find something that is personal to the homeowner. It doesn't have to be, oh, this is old grandma's hutch that's sitting here.
Yeah. So for the listeners listening, when you engage in a interior designing client, what does that typical timeline look like? What does the client need to bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? Kind of walk me through that.
That's a great question. So as far as timeline, it really just depends on how big the project is. And what I find, I'm trying to think of a good analogy for it, but it's almost like they start off with something small, and then the project scope always gets bigger, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Oh, I just want to redo my master bedroom. Okay, great. I know that we're going to do the whole house. So do you want to go ahead and talk about that now? Or, I'm just kidding. But they always start small, and then it seems to grow. Or they just come in and we want to do the whole thing, and let's just go. So the timeline does change. But what I find is that my clients, when they start using me, they are long-term clients. So I have clients that I've worked with for 8 years that we've started off with a big project, but then they need another piece, or they want to redo this, or they want to redo that, and they continue to call me because they know I get them. And that's how it works. It's a relationship business.
Yep.
And so when that sort of like takes the precedence of people want to use you over and over, then that's when you're limiting on what type of clients you want to work with. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Because you're building relationships with these people.
So if you, let's say 5,000 square foot house, 5 beds, 5 baths, nice size home in the $3 million range. Are we 2 months designing? Are we 6 months? Are we a year on average?
I would say on average you're at least a year.
Okay.
So if you're building a home, then you want to start the design process almost the same time that you start the building process.
Okay.
And the reason that you would want to do that is turn times on furniture. So if we're doing a $3 million house, then you're most likely you're most likely going to have custom pieces that go into that house. Well, the turn times for custom is long. So it depends on which manufacturer we go with. It depends on what customizations we're going to go with. It's not anything for me to look straight-faced at my client and say 26 weeks to get that piece of furniture.
Wow.
So it's because it's custom. And I was with a client at High Point Market in April, and we picked out 2 cabinets, and the rep told us it's 26 weeks minimum. Okay, that's what they told us.
Wow.
So that we ordered it in May. We still don't have the pieces yet. So those are things that you don't want to be moved into your house wondering where everything is. So
and waiting on that.
Start the process when you start building is the best way. So
would you recommend a potential new construction client reach out to you first or develop the relationship with the builder first and then have you introduce them to the builder?
It does not matter to me what the client, I want what the client wants, if that makes sense. So I have some clients that say, hey, Robbie, I want to build a house. Okay, well, okay, let's do it. And they say, we want you to find the builder. And so I've had that several times where you go and you interview builders and then you make a decision with the client. Okay, and then I've had other ones that say, hey, we're using this builder. I need you to be the designer. Great. It does not matter to me. It's what the client wants.
Yep.
So, and if they come to you without a recommendation, then that's usually good because then you get to sort of choose who you want to work with because you have a familiarity with that builder.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it is risk relationship building, and they're the ones that are ultimately paying that builder. I don't ever pay the builder. I don't ever pay the contractors. Those are all based on the client. So
the client just says, hey, Robbie, I want to do this and I want it to be beautiful, and you make it happen.
And I make it happen, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I do like to, I will have to admit, I like to be on the forefront though. If you're going to build, then I definitely want to be involved in the work with the architect on the plans, because that's where I feel like the biggest hang up is when I get involved and the plans have already been solidified. And then we say, oh, well, there's this piece of furniture that my, grandmother, gave me that I want to put in the corner. Well, you didn't tell the architect there's no place for that.
Yeah.
So that's where the designer needs to be brought in with the architect so that we can look at the plans together and make sure that everything fits right. So
that's fantastic. So from a design perspective, would you say that you lean one direction or another on style?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I've done everything. I've done, modern, I've done modern farmhouse, I've done lodge. I'm doing a beautiful lodge right now. And I would say the most fun that I have is going to be like a Southern traditional with a hint of modern. That's what I would say my favorite design aesthetic is. So that's where I probably do the majority of my work is in that area.
Okay.
So
when you say Southern traditionals, wraparound porches, columns, Southern traditional?
What'd you say?
Columns.
Oh, columns, sure.
Big, large columns.
Big plantation, that'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
The big columns on the front, I love that. But I would say for me, it's not so much that, it's the manner in which you execute it. So the exterior of the house could be anyway, but the inside of the house, you're going to have patterns, you're going to have color, you're going to have comfortable furniture, you're going to have beautiful lines, to the couches and the furniture, if that makes sense. So I love Oriental rugs, I love Turkish rugs, I love things with a lot of layering. So those things you just don't get when you're trying to do a modern. Everything is, sort of
very sleek, clean.
I do modern, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And it turns out beautiful and the client loves it, but that's not what I would want for myself, in my house. So.
And traditionally in this market, you're seeing what?
I would say a lot of transitional would be more or less what we're doing. So you're mixing in the old with the new would be probably the majority of what people are doing here.
Fantastic. What is a trend that you wish would go away?
A trend that... Well, I think a trend, I'm going to say this is going to be controversial, minimalism.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff where like they want their nightstands completely empty or they want the counter completely empty. And I'm just like, that's just not who I am and that's just not how people live.
Yep.
If you walk into your house right now, I'm sure if you have a kitchen island, you probably have stuff on the island.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So the point is like, why not execute a behavior modification for that? So if you're going to throw your mail and your keys on the island, well, then do a big bowl, and then you can just know that it's okay to throw it in there. Nobody can see it, you know? So that's where I'm kind of...
I think my issue is I cook way too much, and I want things accessible.
That's me. Same thing.
Now, it's not cluttered,
yeah,
but I want it accessible. I don't want to dig through the cabinet
right.
to pull this one pan out, and I got to move 5 things. Like, I want it to look nice.
Yeah.
I don't want it to look junky, but I want it accessible.
Builders, trades, realtors. If you're looking for a flooring partner you can trust, look no further. I'm here to tell you about All About Flooring. All About Flooring is a family-owned business with 3 generations of owners that know the flooring business inside and out. They work in residential and commercial projects for both new builds and remodels by providing high-quality customer service and installation for carpet, area rugs, hardwoods, laminate, luxury vinyl, and more. Y'all, they even provide professional carpet, tile, and upholstery cleaning. At All About Flooring, they're more than just a flooring provider. They're your partner in delivering top-tier results that your customers will absolutely love. You can find their website linked in the show notes or visit their 9,000 square foot showroom at 2111 North Pleasantburg Drive. Now, let's get back to the show.
I think from my standpoint, just the way my brain works, I want the boho, this boho style.
Yeah.
I could stand for that to go away.
Yeah.
All
okay.
the dream catchers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's probably a huge controversial point on this. And if I lose followers,
the macrame,
I am
the
sorry.
macrame planters.
Yeah. Like I just, I get it
Yeah.
to a certain extent, but that's not me.
Yeah.
So from a personal preference stance, boho is not me.
That's right.
I don't need my flowers hanging from the ceiling. I'm gonna put them in pots outside.
Okay, there you go.
I got flowers in the house, but
Yeah.
they're fresh cut flowers.
Yeah.
What kind of staying in that same lane? What are some of the trends that you're seeing are coming on strong for 2025?
Oh man, it seems to me that changing the tables on kitchen appliances are a big thing right now. I'm noticing that people are getting away from microwaves, for whatever reason, I still have a microwave in my house. People are switching to steam ovens. I'm seeing a lot more technology in the appliance arena that I think is going to be more affected next year than ever. So I'm seeing probably more things to make cooking easier. I don't know the name of it, but these little ovens that people are using, they're starting to come out with like more high-end ones. So it's almost like a sous vide type contraption.
Yeah.
So I feel like next year is going to be all about technology in the kitchen. I think that's where people are going to probably expand more. As far as other design trends, I mean, definitely we've gone away from gray. Everyone knows that. So I think there's going to be probably more color coming up next year. If you just look at Instagram and can look at the things that are coming through, I think we're getting back into that resurgence of the 90s where jewel tones are coming back pretty strong. And I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah. So, I like bold color, but I don't know that we'll ever get back there, painting a dining room all, cranberry.
Oh, Lord. The funny side note. So when I came on board, the upstairs of the association, some people listening to this will remember this. There was this burgundy carpet through the entire floor of the upstairs office.
Wow.
So we're talking 5,000 square feet of burgundy carpet.
Wow.
And the building was built in 91, and I don't think it had ever been replaced or washed. So there had never been steam cleaners gone through that thing.
Okay.
And I tell you, you could see where people had fun because there was drink stains all over the floor. So I'm hesitant to love the fact that jewel tones are coming back because that may...
No,
I don't want the burgundy carpets to come back.
Right. Yeah. Oof. Me either. I seriously doubt we'll ever get that far. But, you're seeing a resurgence of those bold colors that are popping back in. And you're like, what is going to happen?
So do you think wallpaper is here to stay?
I don't think wallpaper ever went away. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I've used wallpaper. I use wallpaper in almost every design that I do. So wallpaper is a great way to give texture to a room, even if it's a simple grass cloth, In fact, we just put grass cloth on the ceiling of my daughter's room and we painted it. So because we couldn't get the shade right. So we painted the color. We just ordered grass cloth and then painted it and it turned out amazing.
Fantastic. So wallpaper's in, jewel tone colors starting to make a resurgence.
Well, I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm just saying I'm seeing it happen. I'm like, I don't like this.
I love it.
Yeah.
And technology.
In the kitchen. Yeah.
So are we for air fryers in the ovens?
I think they're coming. I probably won't have one, but I think they're coming. So.
Yeah. I think from an association standpoint, you're really seeing organizations like Samsung, like Bosch, like Wolf, all the Sub-Zero products really starting to push that limit of, all right, what can this refrigerator do?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
We've got 3 different ice makers in here creating 3 different styles of ice depending on if you want a cocktail, a glass of water, or if you want Chick-fil-A crushed ice.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think I've seen that over the past 6 months of what's coming up. So it's super exciting. So in our market, you're seeing kind of continuing trends going up from a real estate standpoint as well?
I mean, as far as the real estate market is concerned, I mean, we still have no inventory for the people that are moving here. And I hope that I don't get berated for saying this out loud because I can't remember the exact numbers. Let me just say this. There are so many people moving to Greenville that they still don't have the recovery that they're trying to do. So
33 people a week.
okay, so I was going to say, I thought it was 45.
Yep.
But okay, there you go, 33 people.
Yep.
So there's what's called and I'm so bad on this, but there's these numbers that I can't remember. But basically, we don't have enough houses to sell to the people that are moving here.
Yep.
So
we're just for people that are listening, we're about 9,000 lots short.
Okay,
So
there
if
you
you
go.
put 9,000 lots on the ground right now and you began construction, you would have 6 months of supply.
There you go. Yeah.
But one of the hardest things from our standpoint is we've got people who come here and they love it, and we welcome them with open arms.
Right.
And they fall in love with the beauty of Greenville, the green spaces, the parks, the amenities, the fact that you can walk downtown that you couldn't walk in 25 years ago or you got shot. They fall in love with that, and then they forget that they had just moved here. And they don't want anybody else to experience it. So we struggle with that, and a lot of it is NIMBYism, so that not in my backyard mindset.
Yeah.
But we're not stopping the inbound.
No, we're not.
And what we're trending to see right now is your starter home is not the one selling. It's your $1 million+ house.
Okay.
And they're turning into cash deals.
Yeah.
The amount of money coming into this market right now is astronomical.
So that's what I specialize in, is that upper end clientele.
Yep.
And I have a lady that's coming in. She's flying in the 27th, and she's going to be with me to the 31st. Okay. And we're buying a home. Like, she's coming in, we're buying a home. Her budget is under $3 million for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Okay. And so I pulled up just this morning the listings that are available on the MLS that meet her criteria. Okay. For between $1 and $3 million. Okay. 22 homes. Okay. And those will probably be sold before she comes in next, in the next week when she comes in. So I'm basically just doing my pre-work of like, this is what I need to have done. And then I'm going to have to redo it the day before to make sure that those homes are available to be seen.
Yep.
So because they're going so fast, and she's a cash buyer, she's coming in from the upstate or from up north, and she's going to live here 6 months out of the year. So she's going to be she's going to buy the house through me. I'm going to design the house, and then she's going to be in home management. She wants all 3 services.
Oh, wow.
So, and she already knows that. We've already had that discussion. So
That's fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing, we saw this shift this year of kind of upstate New York, kind of New York, Chicago area, kind of slowing down on inbound. But I think we're starting to see it kind of hit that shoe back up.
So she's from New York, this client coming in,
Yeah.
and I've had, I would probably say out of town New Yorkers, I've had probably 5 in the last 2 years. So that have been for me. So I get a lot from New York. In my opinion, that's a lot, So
Are you doing a bunch of marketing up in New York, or are they just
None.
finding you?
Yeah, well, I have different connections around town, and so this lady that's coming in was from a masseuse at the Grand Bohemian. And
I love it.
And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, the masseuse who, whatever, said you have to use Robbie Randolph. I was like, okay, great.
Like, hey, here's a little Cersei, sir.
Yeah, it's funny. So I finally tracked down who the masseuse was, and it was a previous client that had gone to work there, but it was kind of funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when it first came in, I'm like, I don't know a masseuse at the Grand Bohemian.
You're like, oh, what's going on, and how does he know me?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I love it. So, kind of starting to wrap up, I want to talk to you about a project. I know you touched on the one with the mother's
House, yeah.
house. Talk to me about a project that truly is like the one that stands out. If you say, all right, what is one project? What was the price point? Kind of talk to me about that.
So I think the one that I think of is a house that was over in Kingsbridge. And the clients had purchased it on their own through another agent. And I believe they paid maybe $900 for the house. maybe 900. And it was a 5,000 square foot home, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. And they wanted to just fix up the home for themselves. And so we went through the design process. They had some existing furniture, but for the most part, it was a brand new design, lots of things. And they just said, we want it to feel like our home. And so we did the design process. I designed the master bedroom, the living room, the pool table room, the dining room, powder room, kitchen, breakfast room, laundry, that whole main level, plus some outdoor space.
Wow.
And that project only took 9 months. So that was one of those ones when you talk about timeline, furniture is able to get in, if it's able to get in, then that's what, did it. We did wallpaper in several of the rooms. We did just a lot of cool things with the project. What stands out to me about that house was it was a good purchase price. It was around $900,000. We did all of the interior design for $150,000. So at this point, you're just over $1 million for what we have invested into the home, okay? And then we did a kitchen remodel, which I wasn't involved with hiring the contractor, so I don't know how much that was, but let's just say it was less than 100 because I know that the numbers are kind of in there. They then lived in the home for 6 months, okay? And I love this story because it's just crazy. They got a knock on their door and someone wanted to pay cash for that house for $1.7 million. So they literally sold their house. They were out in 3 weeks. Okay. This was 2 years ago, Thanksgiving. They were out and they literally the people who bought it took everything in the home except for a few personal pieces that the homeowner wanted to keep. And so with that process, it showed me the power of great interior design and a remodel because that house sat on the market when they bought it for $900,000 and now it was in such demand that someone knocked on their house.
That's fantastic.
And that tells you exactly how interior design can help sell your house. So,
well, you heard it here on the Think Big podcast.
yeah.
Use Robbie Randolph for his interior designs and your house
Yes.
prices will sell for 40% more.
Yeah, it really is. And we went on to, they bought a house over in Hartness that I helped design as well. And then we got them out of there into another house. And it's just they're great clients.
So clearly they are okay with moving.
Yeah, they were definitely okay with moving.
Yeah. At that sales price, you want it? Have it.
Have it, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So one final thing, touch on DRG.
Okay, sure.
Not a lot of
Yeah, we
people
didn't talk much about
know much about it.
Yeah.
I know we've done some Wine Women Wednesdays there with our Professional Women in Building Council. I know we've done several events.
Yeah.
DRG is the sponsor of the Designer Showcase at the Southern Home and Garden Show on February 21st,
Yes, I'm
22nd,
so excited about all 3
23rd.
designers that are going to be in that. So.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Talk to me about DRG consumers, interior designers, builders. Let's talk about that.
So we Design Resource Gallery was created for what we call to the trade. So to the trade is interior designers, builders, architects, and then believe it or not, some small business owners use us. The reason we say to the trade, we don't charge sales tax. We don't even have the ability to charge sales tax. We are only a wholesale company. So if you have a business, an LLC with it, and then you can provide us a W-9, then you can purchase from our company.
Okay.
So some boutiques here in town, they'll buy furniture for their showrooms. Let's say a clothing boutique, they can order their furniture through us because they're tax exempt essentially. So we don't charge sales tax, so they can order from us. The showroom is designed that anything that is pretty that goes inside your home, you can get through our company, okay? So that means wallpaper, that means fabrics, that means furniture, both in stock and custom, that means lighting and rugs. So we also have a huge tile studio where you can get Sonoma tile, Wow tile, Crossville tile, and then we also have the hardwood floor section where you can get LVT, engineered hardwood, and site finished hardwood floors. So all of that is available to the trade community. We do occasionally get homeowners that will just walk in and say, oh, I want to use you. Like, how can I look around? They can look around all they want. In order to purchase, they have to have a tax ID number, or if they don't, then they get assigned an interior designer. So occasionally what will happen is a person will come in and they want, oh, I need my powder room redone. Great. Then we'll refer them out to an interior designer.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then y'all have interior designers on staff, or y'all?
No, we don't have any interior designers on staff.
Okay.
We deal with interior designers. So if an interior designer walks in, we assist them, but we don't design for them. So if they're stumped and they say, hey, I'm really looking for a plaid, great, we can direct them to where a plaid needs to go, but we don't design for them. So
Okay.
we've had some times where designers like, hey, I need this couch. Go find me this couch. Well, we don't do that. So that's their job.
Yeah.
And then one thing I forgot to touch on, we also have the warehouse. And I think that, probably for the audience of this, we're going to get a lot of builders that are maybe watching this podcast. That's, I think, the biggest thing for builders to realize is that we have a full service warehouse, receiving warehouse. So we can store the goods, we can receive the goods, store the goods, and then deliver them to on-site. So that's really valuable when it comes to tile and hardwood floors, because we can receive them in and then store them until the site is ready for them and then deliver them.
Oh, wow. That's
but we
fantastic.
have appliances that get delivered. So we have a big project in the Cliffs right now where we have all of the appliances for some reason. And that's another sticky area because we have all the appliances in our warehouse. But I was thinking with warranty issue, why are they there? But who knows?
Yeah. You're like, we opened it up as a warehouse. This is why
we have stuff there.
Yeah. So if they need to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
For Randolph Estate Living, they can go to my Instagram, or they can go, they can call me. Will you post my number, I guess? And the Design Resource Gallery, best way to do that is to go to our website, and they can fill out an application to become a buyer through us.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Well, Robbie, as we wrap this up, I greatly appreciate your
thanks
time.
for having me.
Thank you for giving us all the information. Be sure to check out the next episode on the Think Big podcast. We can't wait to see you there. Thanks for listening to the Think Big podcast. If you can do me two big favors, if you can subscribe to the podcast to continue getting updates whenever new podcasts drop, and also if you can scroll to the bottom of the page and just give this podcast a review. We want to continue pushing it out to more people, sharing what we're talking about, and educating more people in the building industry. I would also like to say a huge thank you to two of our sponsors, All About Flooring and Go Digital. If you're interested in sponsoring the Think Big podcast for 2025, be sure to reach out to the HBA of Greenville today. Thanks.